Hello again, Steve here with a little few comments on what I thought of most lately. There's a tendency for us human beings, I think, to suppose that we know something, even if we don't. Perhaps it's us indulging ourselves in our own opinions or whatever. But there is something relieving about just being able to say, I don't know. I may have talked about this before, but it's become more and more for front and center for me, this tendency to say I don't know when the truth matters. Because, which it does, like being honest to oneself, I find helps to be honest with others. And if I don't know part or more than part of something, it's best just to admit it first to myself. And this comes down along the lines of, I would think, subjective and objective ways of looking at things, or reality, the objective reality versus subjective connotation of something. In other words, we can have a subjective thought, which is subject to us because we created it, or at least there's no other place where it's being created. It's something we're thinking about or dreaming about or whatever. But if it doesn't have an objective counterpart, if I can't go out and verify that, then I have to say that I don't know that exists. And this, of course, is important, I think, in terms of improving the quality of my life, because it simplifies things. I don't have to wonder whether something is true or not. Something is possible to be true, so long as it doesn't counteract with the reason also. I mean, I heard one guy use the example of, I can't imagine, or in a subjective thought, that there's such a thing as a square circle, because they're not compatible, right? Square and a circle are two different things. So you cannot have a square circle. That is a contradiction in terms. So that, I can't imagine that exists, and if I say so, then I'm just being silly or delusional, one of the two. But it is possible that mermaids exist somewhere in another world or something. It is possible. I mean, because that's another form of life, right? And forms of life can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. So that's not, I can't say that I know that there's not mermaids somewhere, for example. But I can say there's not square circles, because squares and circles are different things. So it really simplifies things, right? It comes down to, first of all, does it meet the reasonability test? So mermaids somewhere could be reasonable, right? Square circles are not, so you throw it out. Perpetual motion machines, well, according to thermodynamics, impossible, because there's always a loss in energy transfer, so that's not going to exist. And then, of course, having the subjective meet the having to have an objective testability standpoint for one to say that it's true is valuable as well. And this is why I was in this little discussion with somebody online the other day, and we're talking about citizenship. Is somebody a citizen? Well, my question is, can you test for it? Can you take a blood sample and send it off to 5 different labs and get back what citizen that is? The answer is no. Then it's not anything real. It's a subjective idea. However, if somebody, if you take a blood sample of somebody and send it off to 5 different labs to get what type of blood is A positive or whatever, it will come back from all those labs, provided they are legitimate and doing the same rigor of testing, and they'll give you a categorical answer as to what that blood is. Whatever's testable for it in there, right? So that is where the idea of doing something, the idea of doing a blood sample for something, saying we're pretty sure this is type A or whatever, and then having an objective verification of it. But if it's purely subjective and has no parallel in the objective world, then it doesn't exist, right? And therefore, I think the value of saying, but then of course, there's lots of subjective ideas which may have an objective reality, but we haven't found it. So therefore, I have to say, I don't know, as an example. But there's lots and lots of examples. I mean, I've got caught up in it before, and I hear people getting caught up in it so often. Somebody asks them a question, they don't really know the answer for it, but they give an answer anyway. I don't know if people just don't want to, I mean, I'm the same way, don't want to look dumb or something like that. But more and more I find that there's sort of a comfort in saying, I don't know. Comfort level, because first of all, it's being honest. And that's enough. And you know, admitting don't know, it sounds sometimes like a cop-out. But what I've found is that it can be an opportunity to say, but I'm going to try to find out. So often I find myself now taking little notes in my notebook. I'll write a word down, you know, or an idea down, because I want to look it up. I want to find out about it. I want to ask somebody about it. I want to remind myself to reflect on it later or something like that. So I don't know leaves open a big void. It's like, you know, that piece of bread you pull out of the fridge. I don't know what I'm going to put on it first. But now I'm going to find out, because I'm going to look through the cupboards and the fridges to see what I'm going to put on it. I don't know leaves that big blank canvas also for curiosity to begin to help to fill it up. Motivate ourselves to fill it up with something, and in the process maybe learn something, maybe fill some of those pieces of the I don't know up, right? Just a thought anyways, for the evening. I don't know what else I'm going to say, but it's been great chatting and enjoyable. Steve here. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.